The earth shook with a violent, unfamiliar tremor, as if it were breathing its last breath. The second stranger, still shrouded in mystery, let out a piercing scream that tore through the silence, a cry born from the depths of pain after Vados exhaled her last breath in his arms. His energy surged uncontrollably. A wave of light swept across the sky and stretched into space until it seemed as though the cosmos itself was trembling. Goku stood stunned, staring at that explosive light, unsure whether he was witnessing the birth of a new power or the beginning of the end of everything. Behind him, his friends were paralyzed by shock. Not a single word left their lips. Even the High Priest's own creation froze in place. The light grew brighter, altering the climate until the sky's familiar color vanished, replaced by a canvas of dazzling, dancing hues. The Earth's surface transformed into a solid, transparent substance resembling glass, reflecting the light of the moon and stars, which once again illuminated the heavens, as though the entire universe was being reshaped before their very eyes. The storms ceased abruptly, as if nature itself held its breath, waiting for what was to come. Everyone was silent, their eyes fixed on the being who had cast aside his dark robes, his body now radiating a strange glow that fused both darkness and light. Goku, standing calmly, felt something deep within him recognize this presence, a power he never imagined he would sense again after leaving the Void Realm. The being advanced with cold, emotionless steps, his gaze rigid, moving forward with unwavering confidence. He did not look at anyone, nor respond to the voices rising behind him. He walked in a straight line, toward one single target. Goku. Gohan muttered anxiously, "What is he doing? He's heading straight for Dad." The air around them shifted, as though gravity itself had faltered. The stranger stopped before Goku, face to face, no words, no movement, only a cold gaze drilling into Goku's soul as though searching for something lost since the dawn of time. Goku did not move either. He stared back with a strange steadiness, caught between caution and longing, between doubt and certainty. These moments of silence felt as if time itself had stopped. Then, in a voice that pierced the stillness, Goku spoke.
"I never imagined I'd see you again, Whis."
Shock filled the place. Krillin gasped. "What did he say? Whis?" Goku continued.
"But something in you has changed. This is not the same light I once knew. What is this darkness dwelling inside you, Whis? Are you truly a savior, or have you become the danger itself?"
His words were like a spark igniting the tension in the air. Whis remained silent for a moment, his eyes glowing with a blend of ancient light and newfound darkness, before he gave a cold smile and spoke in a voice heavy with dread.
"I have become both, Goku, the light that guides and the darkness that annihilates. I am the savior and the danger, all at once."
Not a second passed before he slowly raised his hand. Without explanation or hesitation, a strange energy gathered in his palm. Everyone stepped back in fear. The old man cried out, "Whis, have you lost your mind? He's aiming straight at Goku's face!" But Whis was utterly silent, his expression blank, his eyes locked on Goku. The energy in his hand swelled until it lit up half the sky. The High Priest's creation was bewildered, while Goku remained silent, gazing at the energy forming in Whis' hand, mere centimeters away from him. As everyone's eyes widened at the unfolding scene, the strike was unleashed. A terrifying explosion thundered across the land. Waves of energy erupted like a volcano, and everything vanished in a blinding white flash. Krillin screamed, "No! He did it! He destroyed Goku!" Piccolo clutched his chest in shock. "Impossible! This isn't the Whis we know." The light dominated the horizon for what felt like an eternity, so intense it nearly shook the earth apart. Then it began to fade slowly as dust and light cleared away. Everyone froze in place, unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Goku was no longer standing before Whis as they had thought. He had vanished completely from that spot, only to reappear behind Whis, standing firmly, his body calm, as though he had never moved at all. Meanwhile, Whis was still staring straight ahead. The truth was, his target had never been Goku. The true target was the royal creation, the very invention of the High Priest. The attack had been directed at that creation, who blocked it effortlessly, confident, a smile on his face, as though he had read the plan before it was even executed. No one could believe what they had just witnessed.
Gohan cried out in shock. What just happened? Was that on purpose?
But the first mysterious one, the one guarding the friends, smiled faintly. That was a clever move. It wasn't meaningless as you all thought. Whis just tested his true opponent, the one he sees as the real threat to Kakarot. But what he did wasn't merely to test that being. He also wanted to see how much Kakarot himself has changed. But how long will this farce continue? I want to put an end to this commotion myself.
Whis stood before Goku, his back turned toward him, like a silent shield protecting him from everything. Across from them stood the High Priest's creation, who spoke mockingly. I do love surprises, but they lose their flavor when you are the one behind them, Whis. I've waited a long time, preparing for my true meeting with Goku. I wanted him to witness with his own eyes the fall of the hope he believed in, and now you arrive to ruin the show. But Whis didn't move, nor did he show any emotion. He simply raised his head slightly and spoke in a tone that blended coldness with sorrow. I care nothing for your shows or your nonsense. I am no longer the one who joined the angels in their tedious games. For 10 long years I've had one purpose, to understand who I am and what this system was meant to be. He paused for a moment, then looked up at the sky and said softly, but something has changed. New purposes have been born. A purpose for vengeance against those who caused her departure. Then, lowering his head toward his opponent, he added, and another purpose, to protect Goku, because Vados, before she left, placed her final wish within my heart. So consider my stand here a tribute to her spirit, and a promise fulfilled at last. Silence filled the air, until it shattered beneath an angry voice that thundered from above. One of Whis' brothers appeared, his expression severe, his voice cutting through the heavens. Enough, Whis. How dare you appear from the other side? You were cast out from among us, stripped of your royal rank, severed from the light. Then another brother spoke, his tone filled with disdain. You are nothing now. No king, no angel, no spirit. You died the day your title was taken. What remains of you is but an empty shell, wandering between light and nothingness. The other angels assembled, as though preparing to deliver a final judgment. But behind Whis, Goku stood in silence. Then, suddenly, his eyes widened in shock, as though something had pierced through his memory. He saw a vision, an old scene, Vados standing before him defending him against her brothers. And now that very moment was repeating itself before his eyes. A booming voice echoed from the ranks of the angels, its resonance shaking the skies. This is your end, Whis. We will not allow you to disgrace the throne any further. Our true target is Goku, but since you've chosen to stand in our way, you'll fall first. Celestial energy began to blaze around them. Several of Whis' brothers formed a perfect circle, their bodies glowing with radiant light, threads of immense spiritual energy intertwining between them. Damn you, Whis! Be erased from existence! A wave of divine light burst from the circle, like a star exploding in an instant, engulfing everything in brilliance. Time itself froze for several seconds before an explosion thundered through the planet's core. The friends stood in utter disbelief, but as the dust began to fade, the scene revealed itself as though even time bowed in respect. Whis stood firm, unmoved. His body hadn't shifted an inch, his eyes were void of emotion, his face empty of expression. In a voice calm yet chilling, he said, "All I realize now is that I've been far too merciful. This time, there will be no salvation before pain." He slowly turned his head toward Goku and said, "Goku, please don't interfere. I know you too well, But this is a battle that belongs to me alone. A promise I made, and its time has come." Then he vanished. A speed beyond comprehension. Only a fleeting gray flash could be seen, followed by a divine explosion that tore the heavens apart. In an instant, everyone found themselves in the midst of a storm of light. Whis faced his brothers. Every movement of his seemed to split time in half. Their strikes poured down from every direction, yet he moved so fast as though the wind itself obeyed him. Krillin gasped in awe. What is this? He's fighting all of them by himself!" Gohan muttered, stunned. "Impossible! He was never this strong, not even against my dad. His power defies all logic." Meanwhile, the mysterious one who had been watching silently gave a faint smile and said in a low, knowing voice, "There's nothing strange about what you're seeing. We've witnessed greater days than these. The outcome has been clear from the start. Whis is no longer the being you once knew." Goku watched the battle intently, his voice filled with admiration. "Now I understand. From what he did to the Earth, he's reached a level where he controls nature itself as if it were part of his own soul. This is the level spoken of in the fusion of the gods of destruction, and that's why the planet endures this devastating clash. He prepared it beforehand, as if he had planned it all from the beginning."
The scene was revealed after the violent charge. Whis' brothers fell one after another, thrown to the ground like lifeless corpses. Not death, but a crushing defeat that shook their very being. One of them remained, standing in the center of the circle, refusing to fight. Her sobs rent the air with profound sorrow. Whis advanced slowly toward her, his steps devoid of mercy, and his hand rose as if to pass judgment at once. She wept with a boundless anguish, tears streaming like rain down her cheeks. Whis lifted his hand, then spoke in a harsh, cold voice. "You will not fool me with your counterfeit tears. You think crying absolves you. What you did to Vados turned my heart to stone, and I will not allow any of you to live in this vile existence. I will cleanse this world." He aimed his hand as if to end her in a sudden movement, but a voice cut through the air, stern and full of resolve. "Stop! Don't do it!" Everyone turned to see Goku stepping forward, his voice steady and without a hint of hesitation. Whis looked at him and said, "Didn't I tell you not to interfere? I have a particular purpose." Goku answered, his voice trembling with memory. "Angels are merely pawns. The real corruption sits above them. It's the priest. Our higher goal is to end him and remove him from his post, not to kill children who were victims of his rule. Punishment must reach the source." Still, Whis ignored Goku's words. The lethal halo in his eyes returned, and he increased his energy charge until the air around him trembled. In that moment, what no one had expected occurred. The sky opened, and from the void descended countless ranks of angels, like a storm pouring down as if wings were falling like rain, row after row aligning as though the heavens had sent their entire army. They landed upon the ground as a single heavenly decree. Their faces were hard, their eyes fixed on Goku and Whis together. They had not come for any second purpose. They came with one clear intent, as immutable as truth, to eliminate Goku and extinguish anyone who stood in their way, namely, Whis himself. The friends around them were swallowed by astonishment. Whis spoke, saying, "Protect yourself, Goku. I don't expect you to hesitate. This time we will act as a team. You are the pivot. Your presence is the core of this game." Goku replied coldly, "No need, Whis. Our goal is shared, but remember, we don't want to slaughter them. Justice is taken, not senselessly fed on blood." In the palace, the priest exploded with fury, his face a burning ember. "You lied to me, Whis. I trusted you, gave me the keys to my fate, and then you vanished and returned with betrayal." He struck the table until the marble cracked, a cry bursting from within him. Zeno expects an explanation for his vision. I have little time in this room and must find a trick to deceive him.
I will await your fate with my sons. I brought them from the banished world, and now we shall see how your game ends." On the ground, the commander of the angels stepped forward, his voice like thunder, speaking with an authority that allowed no reply. "We have not served this order for millions of years. Now, our first mission after so long is to eradicate the one who corrupted the order. We will not fail." Goku and Whis did not wait. They moved forward together as one step before the sea of angels, and the battle erupted like a heavenly bombardment. Screams, clashing waves of energy, vortices of light and shadow. The angels attacked in a single surge, swooping like swarms of blades. Torrents of celestial power shattered the crystalline ground beneath their feet. Whis flowed between the strikes with lethal grace, answering wave with wave, twisting around his foes like wind around a sail. The angels reformed themselves into successive rings, then unleashed a unified technique, a white beam, as radiant as a full moon, aimed directly at Goku. Here, everyone noticed something terrifying. Goku's energy was not merely defensive, it transformed nature itself. When he extended his hand, the earth split, and the air blasted forth in colors never seen before. The friends watched, their hearts pounding, yet their eyes held an undying hope. Goku and Whis, together, two ends of the tail, makers of fate, fighting not to measure strength, but to reveal the truth and protect existence from itself.
The earth fell still for seconds after an immeasurable struggle. The two stood amid the rubble, Goku with resolute features, and Whis with an inscrutable gaze, staring down the remaining angels who still stood there, fearful and confused, their faces torn between loyalty and dread. Goku raised his hand slowly, and at the same moment, Whis lifted his other hand. Cosmic energy gathered around them. Then Goku spoke in a deep voice. "Unfortunately, you have disappointed your father. Millions of years have passed, and you keep repeating the same sins with different faces. You learned nothing of the order you swore to preserve, and now, when fate tested you, you chose blind obedience over insight." He smiled faintly and added, "Those who follow the light without seeing it live their whole lives in darkness." His words fell like thunder into the hearts of the others. Whis then broke the silence, as if giving Goku a secret signal. "Mercy is over, Goku. It's time to decide." Suddenly, in the great palace, the walls trembled. The celestial lights began to flicker as if the heavens themselves shuddered with anger. He approached the luminous orb in the center of the room. It glowed with a malicious energy, an ancient secret not spoken since the earliest ages. "Very well. It seems there is no more room for righteousness. I no longer think of the order. I will overthrow the order itself." He raised his staff high and said, "I will execute the forbidden technique, the one I swore I would never use again for millions of years, the technique that once altered the balance of the universes, the fusion of purity and destruction." He struck the glowing orb once with his staff. The hall filled with a flash like the lightning of eternity, and lightning leapt from it toward the sky, through the cosmic layers, until it reached the planet Earth. In an instant, a dreadful bolt struck 3 of the remaining angels directly, releasing a scream that made the planet quake. Their cry was not only pain, but transformation. A blinding white light enveloped their bodies, changing their features at an incredible speed. The earth shook, and the air ignited. Then, in an explosion beyond imagination, a great sound resounded, and a pillar of light rose to the heavens. As the glare faded gradually, a single creature appeared, huge, majestic, bearing features that combined beauty and awe. Its wings spread wide, Its light turned night into day, illuminating the entire land for seconds. Every being watching held its breath. Goku lifted his head in astonishment and deep worry. What is this? Who is this being? How did it appear? Whis did not answer either, but he stared at the creature with concern. The creature raised its head toward the sky, and its voice thundered across the universes. I am the priest's voice. I am his final judgment. I am the scale of absolute order. Your game has become tedious. I will end it now. It raised the staff, and an aura extended from its tip. What it unleashed was not an ordinary wave visible to the eye. It was an invisible beam that struck the earth and found its mark. Whis fell to his knees for the first time. He could not evade that cold force that pierced the air. His body collapsed, and astonishment painted the faces of everyone. Even the friends accustomed to miracles could not believe Whis would fall from a single blow.
Whis whispered as he looked at Goku, his eyes filled with worry and affection. Be careful, Goku. You are my core. Vados entrusted me with protecting you. Don't let me die before I fulfill that promise. The creature laughed, a bitter laugh that tore through the air. I targeted you because you stood in my way. You betrayed me after I gave you everything. I even thought you were my finest child. Goku shouted in fury. You rebel. You've become a demon disguised in the cloak of an angel. The creature exchanged a cold look and then said in a sharp, final tone, then let the ending be grand. He began his ritual. Strange movements, clearly the forbidden technique. The priest's creation, who stood watching, narrowed his eyes in startled disbelief. He couldn't comprehend the flash that streaked through his memory, a spark of an ancient recollection buried deep within his mind, something he was forbidden to remember. Then the creature launched his attack. The sky ignited, and the light fractured into deadly waves. Goku braced himself as best he could, but suddenly a piercing scream echoed through the air. It was the sister, the one who had wept in remorse moments ago. She hurled herself like a projectile into the path between the beam and Goku, throwing her body forward as a living shield. One cry burst from her, a cry filled with sorrow, love, and apology. The beam struck her body. A tremendous explosion shook the ground. Her body glowed with strange light, tears streaming down her face as she called to Goku with a trembling voice. Forgive me, Goku. I was part of the attempt to extinguish your light. I stood on the edge of obedience, bound by my brother's will and my father's command. I didn't know the path of truth. My sight was lost between duty and doubt. But now I remembered our mother who raised us. I remembered why we were created. You fight for our origin, for our blood. Her tears flowed without end. Her hand trembled as she added, voice faltering, this attack, it's an ancient ending. A technique my father used only once. And now it's been reactivated through 3 of his children, the minimum required to awaken it. When I saw its effect, I knew it would destroy you, so I sacrificed myself to atone for my sins. I gave my life to keep your light alive. Her glow began to fade slowly, but her final words carried a rare sincerity. You are the hope. You are everything. Vados will rest in peace as long as your light remains. Goku lifted her gently into his arms. He held her, feeling the weight of something far greater than ever before. She vanished into the light, her end sealed in a place known only to the priest. The creature erupted in rage. His plan was thwarted, his ultimate technique undone by a single act of sacrifice. Goku felt a surge unlike any before. Not merely power, but a sorrow fused with wrath boiling within him. You've given me a fire beyond endurance. Now I'll do what must be done.
He launched himself toward the creature at a speed beyond perception. What the witnesses saw was pure shock. Goku's strike was not aimed at a tangible body. It surged like a wave born from the void itself. His blow cut through the air as if slicing through illusion. The creature appeared as pure light, a form made of radiance, untouchable. Yet it shuddered at Goku's passing strike. The shock rippled through all, as though the clash was not between two beings, but between an idea and reality.
The friends gathered in astonishment and cries. Their voices mingled between pleading and awe. How? His strike had no effect on him. Piccolo refused to accept what he'd seen. This cannot be explained by our measures. The arena's breath shrank as Goku raised his hand to his chest. He could not find the necklace. Then a thunderous shout erupted from him. The necklace! Where is the necklace? The creature smiled a cruel smile. Search for it if you wish, but it will not remain long in my hands. No sooner had the words ended than the creature extended its hand and suddenly clenched its fist. The necklace shattered under his grip, splintering into particles of scattered light, vanishing as if it had never existed. Goku fell to his knees, astonishment and heartbreak mingling on his face. The loss of the necklace was not merely the loss of a precious object, it was the loss of a vow and a trust, a mother's gift now entrusted to a guardian soul. The High Priest's invention. The inventive High Priest himself stepped back, a rare break in his composure, a color unknown to anyone flaring in his eyes. He spat words like swords. No, this is no game. That necklace was not his alone. It was a key. Then, breaking his silence, he lunged with raw fury toward the creature. But before he could reach his mark, everyone's eyes turned to Goku. Existence itself trembled as Goku released his cry, a scream unlike any before, more like a cosmic summons that tore through veils and layers and dimensions. Space shuddered. All beings across the universes, from the lowest to the highest, stopped, listened, felt that exploding light carried in his scream. Golden veins gleamed across his skin like lightning, weaving over him like lines of holy light, and when he spoke his voice became nearer to a roar of radiance. You awakened the beast within me, and it will show you no mercy, no matter who you are. He raised his hand, and the air around him fragmented into particles of energy. The attack he released was not only power, but faith, a light mixed with an unbreakable, pure conviction. The wave surged and struck the creature itself before it even realized it had been attacked. A sharp cry issued from the being. Its body began to crack, each cell dissolving into shards of light, just as the necklace had. But Goku fell to his knees. He did not feel victory, only emptiness. Tears streamed from his eyes, falling to the ground and burning the earth with their radiant heat. He spoke in a broken voice. I could not keep the trust. The friends mourned, but while his tears shone on the ground, something no one expected occurred. The tears began to turn into liquid gold. The tiny drops merged together, forming luminous circles on the earth. In mere moments, the necklace reformed, exactly as it had been. Goku froze where he stood, his eyes widening with wonder, confusion, and trembling. He reached out, placed it around his neck, and was filled with an inner light that emanated from the depths of his soul. In that instant, he saw Zeno's mother appear, speaking in a calm voice like the breeze of eternity. Do not grieve, Goku. Did I not tell you this necklace is not metal? It is a mirror of your inner light. So long as you believe, it can never break, for it is you. The light you carry is stronger than any force. Remember always, the symbol lives only by faith, and you still believe.
Her smile faded gently, but its warmth lingered in his heart. Goku lifted his head to the sky. There stood the High Priest's invention, above them, smiling with deadly confidence, having witnessed all that had unfolded. A magnificent sight, the heavens seemed split in two, light on one side and shadows on the other. Goku spoke. I was searching for a reason to fight with all my strength, and now I have found it. Let us see who deserves to bear the light of this world.